The abandoned colony. The day started like any other hike. We set out in the morning, eager to explore the dense, uncharted woods that had become famous among outdoor enthusiasts for their untouched beauty. For us, it was just another weekend getaway, one last adventure before summer ended. By the time we stumbled upon the colony, we had no idea what we were walking into. "Is this it?" Mark asked, his voice tinged with excitement as he looked around. "This place looks deserted." The old wooden houses stood before us, their faded paint and broken windows giving them an eerie, forgotten look. It was clear this was no ordinary sight. It was more than just a ghost town. There was a sense of history here, one that felt heavy, unnatural. The buildings, clustered together like a long, forgotten town square, appeared to be at least a century old. But there was something off. The place felt wrong, out of place, as though it shouldn't have been here in the first place. "I thought you said this was a logging settlement," I said, looking at Mark. He had been the one to find the location on an old map he'd come across. "There's no sign of logging equipment anywhere." Mark shrugged, his eyes scanning the area. Could be that this place was abandoned before they got around to it. "Let's check it out. This is definitely the place from the map." The air was thick with the smell of moss and damp wood. But there was something else mixed in. Something musty, almost metallic, like iron mixed with rust. The trees surrounding the colony loomed high, blocking out the sun and casting long shadows over the crumbling buildings. "Stay close," I said, my voice suddenly uneasy. As we stepped closer to the colony, the silence around us deepened. Not a single bird, not even the rustle of a squirrel, broke the stillness. We passed the first house, its door hanging ajar, the wood splintered and rotting. Mark pushed it open, and the smell hit us. Thick, rancid, like something had died here a long time ago. But what caught our attention wasn't the smell. It was the walls. The inside of the house was covered in strange symbols, drawn hastily in what looked like blood. They spiraled outward, twisting into patterns that made no sense. "What the hell is this?" Rachel whispered, stepping back as she studied the marks. "This looks like some sort of ritual." I nodded but didn't speak. My stomach twisted in a way I couldn't explain. "Maybe it's just old stuff left behind," Mark said, trying to shake off the unease creeping into his voice. He pulled out his flashlight and aimed it across the room. The beam of light flickered across the dark corners, revealing more symbols, more strange, cryptic messages. Then, it landed on something else. A body. It lay sprawled on the floor, its face half rotted away. Its limbs were twisted at impossible angles, its clothing torn, the remnants of a faded uniform that looked out of place for this time period. And the thing that made my blood run cold? It had no eyes, just empty, hollow sockets. "Oh my God," Rachel gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Before anyone could speak, there was a loud bang, a sharp, hollow sound that echoed through the house. I spun around, my heart racing. What was that? Mark's face was ashen. "Let's get out of here. Now." We all turned and started toward the door when we heard it. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming from outside. They were too heavy, too unnatural. I looked back, a feeling of dread settling deep in my chest. Mark was the first to make a run for it. But as we reached the front porch, something large and dark moved across the yard, catching our attention. Something that shouldn't have been there. The creature was massive, bipedal, like a humanoid figure, but its skin was a sickly shade of gray, almost translucent. Its body was spindly, with limbs that stretched too far, too long. It moved with an unnerving grace, its head too large for its body, crowned with what looked like a series of sharp, metallic plates. The creature had no face, no eyes, just a smooth surface where its face should have been. And it seemed to be moving toward us without hesitation, its movements too precise for anything human. I could feel the air around me turn cold. I couldn't breathe. What the hell is that? Mark's voice was barely above a whisper. Before anyone could respond, a low, guttural growl filled the air, vibrating the ground beneath us. And then, as if answering that call, two more creatures appeared, moving out of the shadows like wraiths. Their forms were similar but more distorted, larger, more menacing. These creatures were covered in patches of thick, chitinous armor that glinted in the dying light, and their claws, sharp, curved, scraped against the ground like knives. They're not human, Rachel whispered, her voice trembling. No, I said, gripping the axe I had strapped to my back. And we're not going to let them finish what they started. We had no choice now. Running wasn't an option. They were too fast, too strong. We had to fight. I pulled the axe free and ran at the first creature. It was slow to react, but as I closed the distance, it raised its arm, and a strange, mechanical clicking sound echoed through the air. From its wrist, a long, sharp blade shot out, slicing the air. It moved too fast for me to dodge, the blade grazing my arm and sending a bolt of pain through my body. I screamed, stumbling back. But I didn't give up. I raised the axe again and swung it with all my might. The creature blocked it with its blade, the force of the blow making the ground beneath us shake. But I didn't back down. I swung again, harder this time, and this time the axe sank deep into its shoulder. The creature let out a shrill scream, its body jerking backward, its arm now hanging uselessly at its side. But the other two weren't far behind. Mark and Rachel were already engaged, fighting for their lives. Mark had managed to grab a large branch, swinging it at the creature closest to him. But the creature was faster, dodging his blow and grabbing him by the throat. I saw the life drain from Mark's eyes as the creature squeezed, his body going limp. Rachel was screaming, slashing at the other creature with a broken piece of wood she'd grabbed from the debris around the colony. But she was no match for it. The creature lunged forward, swatting her aside like a rag doll. "No!" I screamed, fury rising inside me. I couldn't let them die. Not like this. With everything I had left, I ran toward the remaining creature, the one that had taken Mark. It was still holding him by the throat, his body limp in its grasp. Rage flooded my veins, and I swung the axe with everything I had. The blade buried itself in the creature's chest. It screamed in pain, dropping Mark's body as it stumbled back. I didn't stop. I pulled the axe free, but the creature was too quick. It swung its claws at me, and I barely managed to duck, the claws grazing my cheek and leaving a deep, burning cut. I had one chance. With everything I had left, I swung again. The axe hit its head, and this time, the creature went down with a sickening thud, its body twitching once before it went still. I turned to face the others, ready to fight to the end. But then I heard it. A deep, mechanical hum from the trees. And as I turned, my heart sank. More were coming. I was alone now. The colony, the creatures, and the horror of what had been unleashed were all that remained. I ran. I didn't stop. And as the sound of the creatures faded behind me, I realized one thing. This wasn't over. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel, Zone 6 Broadcast, for more terrifying tales released weekly. Thank you for watching. It truly means a lot. This was just one of 24 short stories from my book, Beyond the Campsite, available worldwide on Amazon.